Yep, that's what I did. We went to the NES.
Yeah. Are you recording?
Yeah, we're on.
Cool. Welcome to War Whiskey Podcast. My name is Justin Fisher.
I'm Steve Moll.
And today we're going to be talking about part 2 of the transition post-military. We're going to talk about how kind of this whole thing came together and about perseverance and not quitting. So this is kind of like our story of how we all came into this arena of media production.
Yeah, how Justin and I, originally met and how we got into, first of all, just talking about comic books, Star Wars, Marvel, the Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, stuff like that. Then from there we transitioned to, hey, I've got an idea. He'd write them down. He'd storyboard them off of me and whatnot, and we'd come up with ideas. And then eventually we got into the fan film, short film thing. Justin would come up with the idea. I got into graphic design, special effects, and stuff like that. And then he'd write something down. We'd bounce back and forth off each other, and we'd go out and make horrendous videos.
That is true. So in the spirit of not giving up, and it's all about transitioning post-military. And in our last podcast, I interviewed Jeremy Newman, Kobe Seeger, and I talked about not giving up and do what you want to do. There is a lot of fails before you get that one win.
Oh,
you're not going to knock it. You're not going to knock it out of the park. And a lot of people think that they compare themselves to other veterans on TV. There's two things that veterans always have to work against: is the stigma of being a veteran and the success that other veterans have had to have. In our case, it's pretty much probably Matt Best.
Matt Best is one of the big ones.
So Matt Best opened the door for a lot of veteran-related content, especially for us. In our case, you have to look at the conditions when he was able to create it. So he was post-military. He just got done doing contracting, so he had a little bit of a bank flow to do it. And in our case, we had to make content based off of work and family conditions.
Full time. We work full time, which has nothing to do with making films or this podcast.
Right.
Families. I've got a big family. All my kids do after school activities. Funding.
Right.
We're not rich. We don't have all this extra money coming in, so it's, hey, Steve, can you build this? Hey, Justin, can you find this? Just looking in flea markets, going online, seeing if we can't build some of our stuff. But some of the biggest things is time. Is trying to find the time to do this stuff.
So you're going to hear today, you're going to see a couple links to some of my first video ever submitted, which I don't think you've seen that. I submitted for a class. Then our Red Sail film, which we'll talk about a little later on in the podcast. We thought it was good.
Yeah,
everybody on board thought it was good. The film festival, which we will talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
Did not, but you can't quit.
No.
So we're going to kick it off with, how did we actually meet?
How did we actually meet? Man, I was we were in the RTI, the 233rd Regional Training Institute here in Camp Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I was a mechanic. Justin was an infantry instructor.
Right.
We were at Chaffee, something like that. We had gone up to Fort Chaffee to do something.
That's when we were teaching ALC up there.
Yeah. We were up there. I had to drive the wrecker up there for support.
Right.
And just started talking stuff. I found out we were interested in the same things, like I said, Star Wars, Marvel, comic books, Nintendo, classic stuff like that, and it just started talking. And we found out we were both big gamers, Call of Duty, then just different games from there. And we just found out, hey, Justin likes to write things. I like to be on the computer end of things and do the virtual effects and just work on this type of stuff.
And a lot of people get that misconception when they see me. I talked to somebody the other day. They're like, oh, you're into writing and creating stuff. So yes, I have always been super creative when it comes to writing and making films and stuff like that. It's kind of like the most addictive thing for me is that, like, if I have a chance to be creative, I'll stop everything else just to do that. My first script I ever wrote was actually about a red dirt road and purgatory. So I mean, been doing this for a long time, and that's kind of a misconception when you meet people. You know, they see this image of you, then they find out that you're really into Star Wars and there's other side of it. But mostly anything that I could that allows me to be creative and create like content and stuff. And what really connected us in this genre, in this medium, was we both remember how fun it was to go back to the movies back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Like it was like a big event.
oh yeah, not like it is today, where you go to watch a movie. Back then, it was a big ordeal going to the movies. Back then, it's like, oh man, what's the, because you know the previews of the new movies coming out was a huge thing.
Right.
And you always, you wanted to be the first one to see what the new movies were coming out, and just the experience alone in the movie theaters back in the late '80s, early '90s, stuff like that. It was experience.
There's that feeling is such a positive feeling. I think for me, the world has so much negativity. Our jobs have a lot of negativity.
Oh yeah,
in it.
yeah.
And just interactions daily. But if you can create that positive feeling in kids again and adults, or just take someone where they get away from their crappy day and they go to a different place, then that's
take
where
them somewhere else. Take yourself somewhere else. That's like you said. That's what kind of got us together into doing this. To me, there's two types of people in the world. There's creators and builders. Justin's a creator. He can take something from nothing and create it. And I'm a builder. I can take what he gives me and I can build on it and actually build something and create it, make it so people can see it. So that's kind of why Justin and I work really well together.
So, as a veteran, a lot of them, when they transition out, they have that uncertainty because they don't have that vision. And we talked about vision in the last podcast of what to do. When I first started going to school, and I'm graduated now, but going to college, I wanted to be a film major, film director, and I couldn't because of full-time soldier, and which runs into it a lot of things because I have a family, I have a kid, I can't quit my job to go to school full time, even though it serves a purpose. So, however, I never lost sight of the vision. I just had to work around it, and that's like I went into communications, and that's like I'm always reading old school pop culture stuff because I'm really dialed into things like that. But it kept moving forward. I think a lot of veterans and people transitioning out of the military have that issue with that uncertainty. They're just going to take what they can get. I mean, how many people do you think you work with just end up working as a state employee once they retire?
In my field, a lot. I mean, that's where you go. I'm in the maintenance field, and a lot of people in the maintenance field, that's all they know is maintenance. So they either go to the post engineers or they go teach at the PEC on Camp Robinson. But
it's not what they want to do.
That's not what they want to do. But I mean, I know a couple who've actually gone out and do what they wanted to do.
Right.
But it's far and few between. Some know. Some don't, and the uncertainty is always what gets them.
But a lot of people, especially in our field, get bound by that stigma of like veterans aren't supposed to be creative.
No, it's geeky. It's not like not for us. But
in some examples, we've actually got to meet through our who we are, and we're so open about being creative and things, because the ultimate goal for me is to make a film company, a production company that can hire veterans, gives them a window. Like for example, Glenn McDonald.
Oh yeah.
I'm a fantastic writer, but Glenn McDonald is on a whole nother level, and a lot of people don't know that about him. When it comes to the Middle Earth genre and things of that nature, he's spot on. Mark Jones.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal combatives instructor and just a protagonist of multiple disciplines, and a huge anime fan. So he can choreograph fight scenes. He's going to do one for us coming up, actually. In fact, the film you're going to see today is actually him fighting in it.
You have no idea how hard it got us to get him to do that. He's very camera shy, very humble person. Yeah. But we told him, your face won't be seen. Nobody will know it's you. So
he got the kick. How many times did he kick you on the chest?
He kicked Mike in the chest about 4 or 5 times
Before we got the shot.
Yeah, before we got the shot, and he got to drag me across the floor 3 or 4 times before we got the shot. But I mean, it's amazing how many people you actually meet in our field. You know, in the military. Hey, you know, I write. Oh wow, I do this on the side. I've actually taken acting classes on the side. I've like Major Grimes.
Yes,
Major Grimes. He actually runs a thespian troupe, which is that's pretty cool to me.
Right. And there's a lot of people who have that, but like I said, because of the environment, they're scared to go to it.
The stereotype of the military, the army or whatnot, you know, it's not what you do.
So kind of like what Schwarzenegger said, the 5 rules of 5 rules of success is, as a veteran, you have to have that vision of what you want to do, and you have to think big. All the time I hear, work on your portfolio, which I do. I have a pretty vast portfolio. I actually write for our website now on the side, but it's pretty much work on your portfolio, and people. And what happens is people, friends and family and things of that nature, they worry that you're going to get let down, and
right?
You're gonna fail, so they'll try to steer you into a safe area, and you have to make a decision. Like, I understand, but sometimes you just have to just take that leap of faith to some degree.
It's like, oh, why
and
don't
just say,
you know,
win or lose, at least you got what to do. And that comes down to our film Red Cell that we submitted.
Yeah.
So during quarantine, a film festival, it's called Quarantine Film Festival, came out. It was on Facebook.
I think it was on Facebook, yeah.
And they gave criteria. Basically, they had this list of criteria for a film, had to be X amount long, had to feature like some type of bear, like an animal, like stuffed or picture. Yeah, so that's crucial to this story. So I tell Steve, hey, let's throw this together. So like in 10 hours, we shot and edited. So we were close to choreographed, yeah.
Shot, edited,
storyboarded, choreographed.
Oh man, it was all in one day.
All in one day. Okay. And mind you, this is our first entry into a big, like, film festival, as we thought it was big.
Oh yeah.
Had a lot of famous YouTube people on there that was known for for content. They had several
content creators,
several million subscribers, which we'd like to get to. So we shot this video. There was 4 of us.
There was 4 of us.
Yep.
It was myself, Justin, Mark Jones, and my brother, Mike Moll.
Right. They're all in the credits, and we'll have the link to that on here. We shot this film. Took us about 3 hours to shoot it.
Yeah, about 3.5 hours just
to shoot it. A 3 to 4 minute film. I forget exactly how long it was.
It was a 4 something.
It was probably so. And we got done with it. He edited it. We reviewed it the next day. Then we submitted it.
Yeah.
We were pretty proud of it.
For our first big, because usually anything we put out has been maybe 1 minute, 30 seconds. This is the longest thing and the first thing we've ever put into a film contest.
Right.
So, Justin looked at it, I looked at it, I'd looked at it for hours editing it. But I had them all look at it, and, it's no Spielbergian, it's no Kubrickian, but it's us. We made it, and we're proud of it.
A lot of people don't realize that most film directors, by the time they're our age, which is late 30s, early 40s, that they've had thousands of films made, or hundreds at least.
Good, bad, crappy.
No one starts off with an Oscar. Okay, they all start somewhere, and we submit this film. We're feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good about it, man. We just got it. Submitted, and it's called Red Cell. We felt real good about it. Made sense if you followed it.
Yeah, if you followed it, makes sense. The action and everything.
Has some action in it, some good music, some dialogue. I still think about your brother's acting.
Lack of.
Yeah, but compared to what I've seen on Sci-Fi and Amazon Prime, which you can just upload.
Oh yeah, you
Prime,
can just upload it.
I was feeling pretty good about it. We didn't even make the top 50 on the list, and out of 600 people who submitted, we literally got beat by a guy who was naked, wrapped in a plastic sheet, making bear noises in the woods because he was burying his soul. That is a fact. It caused me to contact the film festival. We didn't realize it was an art.
It's artsy.
Film. It's very artsy. They shot that film with like a
Like-
Generation 2 iPhone. It looked like it's something horrible, and he won that prize with that. And
Yeah. I mean,
I
literally,
I got into it with one of the YouTube creators.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. And I was just like, just basically just insulted his content making. He has like 1.5 million subscribers. I was basically telling him he didn't know anything about what he was doing.
well,
And they're like, oh, well, everybody was a winner, and, that participant. And I was like, no, he's not for us.
no.
But we faced that turn back moment, and I've talked about it before. We could have stopped there and took it on the chin.
Yeah, could stop there and said, oh, well, we're done. We'll never be as creative as these guys.
Yeah, we got beat by a guy, literally in a plastic sheet. I don't even know if it's still out there, but if you look at Quarantine Film Festival, you might be able to find it.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the most disturbing, slightly maybe snuff films I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was just out there writhing in this sheet of plastic naked in the woods.
Yeah.
And
That
was
beat
it.
us. That beat 4 dudes with an action scene and a sword.
So, yeah, I mean, we could have taken it and said, all right, we're done if this is
Right.
what beat us. But the way we took it, it was like, all right, that's just not our...
It's where we took the lessons from it, and not one person that helped us, not one person that helped us said we should stop.
No.
Not one person said. No one ever had that. We just looked at the next one, which we're
Yep.
getting ready to shoot in the winter, which will be even better.
Yeah,
But compared to my first one, I even showed you this. The first one I did was for a project for school for media theory. The guy wanted us to recreate because we were talking about. So I like a lot of 1980s stuff. This is Atari Age, volume number 2. Okay, of their magazine. He wanted us to recreate 1980s commercials.
Okay.
So I made one that looked exactly like what I thought it should look like. It's horrible. You will see it, but if you watch that prior to Red Cell, you'll see that we're getting better.
Yeah.
That's the key. You're not gonna always win, but if you're going forward,
Yeah.
that's fine. As long as you're swimming
As,
and not
as-
sinking.
As long as you take lessons learned from your prior projects, I mean, not every project's going to be perfect. You might have done this perfect in this film, and you take that from the next film. And then you take, oh, okay, well, I did this one perfect in that film. Let me take that and move it over to this one. It's just as long as you're getting better.
Right.
It's like because my first VFX. It was the one we were in my backyard and I did the fireball in your hand.
Oh, that was horrible.
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, it looked so.
Like the neighbors watching us, they were like, "Oh my gosh!"
But I've practiced. I've never taken any schools. I've never been to college for any of this. YouTube is a great thing. I'm a graduate of the University of YouTube. So, but yeah, you just got to take it and get better. It's like, all right, and practice. It's always practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Right. So a lot of it, so we talked about having a vision and thinking big. All right. And then we got to talk about ignore the naysayers. All right. So ignore them, but don't forget them.
Yeah.
Because here's why. Because they're going to be the first ones that are going to jump on your bandwagon when you make it.
Oh yeah. They will be the first ones.
The first ones. I remember everyone who has ever doubted. Is it kind of petty? Not. It is, and it's not. It's just sort of fact. I'm not like being malicious, but I'm going to remember when it comes time for when they're asking for it. Because in my vision, this is going to work. I mean, I already know it's going to work, and that's what you have. You have to have that fundamental belief in yourself, because people, your friends and family, are going to just be like, they're going to try to shape you to what they want. As I try to trick you. Well, hey, you could work for audiovisual at Peck.
Right.
Which is great. They do an awesome job, but
They do.
it's not what I want to do. I want to create,
It's putting out something that they want. It's just speeches and stuff like that.
And it's okay that if you had to find something to just keep you going in that direction, but remember, ignore the naysayers, but don't forget who they are, because they're going to be the first ones to be like, hey, I've always been there for you.
Yeah, remember that one? Yeah, there's always going to be trolls out there, regardless. Whether or not they're true, take everything as constructive criticism. Don't shrug it off. Yeah, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. Some people do. Always take it as constructive criticism, but unless they have somewhat, they can put you down, and they don't listen to the ones that put you down. And if they give you some advice, then you can take that advice as constructive criticism.
When people, and very few people have actually criticized what we do.
No, we
You
haven't.
know, the ones that have, you can see through them, and you're just like, "Where's your
Where's
your podcast?
what have you done? It's like, do you have one? Have you even
Yeah,
tried
that's
it?
how I look at it. It's just ignore them, but remember them, and the next thing is work your ass off.
Yeah.
That's the key. Work your ass off. Put in the time to do it. There is times I literally will wake up at 2 a.m. and write down ideas. Write down ideas. If I have an idea hit me, I will shut down everything I do just to write this thing down. I've bugged him about things. I've ran things past family members and stuff. I have a black book that I write everything down in. There's thousands of ideas in there. Some will probably never see the light.
I've stayed up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to finish a project because I knew it had to be done. It's like, and Justin's on me. It's like, I need to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. It's like, dude, I'm still working on it. Just give me like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, dude, I got another idea. It's like, dude, I have just finished this one. What is your new idea?
Right, and that's the thing is, you can have idea overload, but you just don't ever stop. Don't ever stop working. Don't ever stop getting better.
I mean, there's plenty of paper out there. There's plenty of memory on computers that you can type your ideas, write down your ideas, sketch them out on a receipt, on a napkin.
And that's just us. If you want to do a T-shirt company, put the time in.
Yep.
If you want to be a woodworker, have your own wood shop, put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
Make those sacrifices to some degree. If you're like me, you have a family, you can't necessarily just quit without a plan, because that's going to sabotage and put you delayed. But you got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to put your name out there. You got to be willing to do stuff, and that's a lot of things that people aren't willing to do. They want to take the easy, that safe out. I'd rather work on Camp Robinson or work at Chaffee or work somewhere like that safety net, or stay within a genre. If you notice, a lot of like veteran creators stay within the military genre.
Right, yeah, it's always tactics or
it's always military humor, like Vet TV.
Oh,
so like someone asked me today to review Vet TV. Vet TV to me is adequate at best, and here's why: because it just focuses on those little. Yes, those things happen.
Yeah, they do.
But it's
They're
not
very.
it's not original. It's not real content.
No, it's not every day.
It's kind of like Matt Best videos. Matt Best videos started off really good.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kind of like over exaggerated. So now they're
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So for us, I never want to be in that military genre. I'm a military member. There's nothing against those guys. They guys are effortlessly successful. But for me, I want to make stuff with plants in the sky and things that change people that relate to everybody, not just military. Could I ride military? Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I've got some really good stuff in military, but that's not what I want to be known for.
We want to take people out of this world, put them somewhere else, get them out of here.
So you have to have that vision as a person who's transitioning in the military. So up to now, the military's dictated your vision. Now you have a chance to do what you want to do. And the last thing is probably the most important one is give back.
Give back.
And this
yes,
is
definitely.
followed Schwarzenegger's 5 Rules of Success, but this is, like for us, my goal is to hire, not just military people, because I want to help the community out, but I want to hire people with military backgrounds and things who have that creative streak, who, give veterans jobs, things of that nature. Mostly to give back. I just want to create a positive, that's what we want to do. We just want to create this world where people can forget all that's going on outside.
Yeah, you want to. If you can act, like my brother can't even act.
No,
but if you at least want to try, that's our biggest thing. If you want to try, we'll give you.
I'll
a
have
shot.
a part for you if you want to try.
Yep.
Now, veterans, if you're doing something, your own business, give back. I mean, help out. There's nothing wrong with a little positivity. It's just, it can come from anything. Just help out and give back.
Yeah, give it back. You've been given so much. Give back.
All right. So that's our story. A lot of it was kind of some rambles of how we became to be. Like I said, for every failure, we've never had failure. It's only a failure if you don't get off the floor.
Right. Don't be afraid of the fall. Never be afraid of the fall.
No. Just get up and keep moving forward. A lot of people will criticize you for your failures or your whatever. Like if it's the podcast, our audio is our biggest thing.
Right, yeah, audio.
But you know what? We keep making them. People keep listening to them. People keep saying they're good. So
all we can do is just get
keep
better.
Getting better. That's all we care about. And as long as you're doing that, you're going to transition just nice. But make sure you have a vision. Think big. Don't narrow yourself. Work your ass off. Ignore the naysayers and get back.
Yep.
That's all the time we got for War Whiskey Podcast. I'm Justin Fisher.
Steve Moll.
Catch you later.